Sometimes an exam question might ask you, what is a unit for the rate constant if the overall order is 2 or 5 over 2 or some other weird number? And what you want to do is not just memorize, but know how to actually get to the steps. So we'll start with our first example where we're given an overall order of 2. So remember, when you're calculating the rate constant, it is not just the order of one concentration, but the overall order, that is n plus n. Okay, so how you get to this is, first of all, you want to use the rate law. So this is a concentration for something to the order of n. The rate law, and then you will also need the other expression to represent the rate, which is where you consider the concentration over the temperature. So the purpose of all of this is, if you're going to get K, you will need to divide your rate by this concentration to the power in order to get K. And we know that rate is also this expression, so we're going to sub that in, and thus we know that the rate is going to have units of concentration, mole per liter, and then divided by time, which is seconds or minutes, what have you. So I'll just write time. Okay, and then we're dividing it by the concentration to the power, and the concentration's unit is mole per liter. But since we're told that the order here is 2, that means our m in this sample is going to be 2. So if you want to get the units, you would sub it by 3 or 1, depending on what order you're given. So we're finding the units for 2. That means all of this is going to be squared, because we're just subbing things in here. And we're not using any numbers, you notice, we're just finding out the units. So then how you would go about the next step is that you would try to simplify it. And what I find easiest is just to write it in the form that we're all so familiar with. So the first part is going to be mole per liter divided by time. And then instead of dividing a fraction, I'm just going to multiply it by its inverse. So L is going to be on top and mole is going to be on bottom. And this is all going to be squared. And then we're going to use our exponent laws to do some canceling. And thus, for this overall order of 2, the unit for the rate constant is going to be, which is another way of saying, and time to -1, whether that be minutes or seconds. So you can try this, and if you want to do the third order, the units is going to be liters squared mole -2, and then time to the -1. So to recap, we're using the rate law. We're using the rate law for our to find our units and for the rate constant. And then for the units of this rate, we're going to use a definition that rate is concentration divided by time, which is this. And then we're going to multiply, and then we're doing the dividing of a fraction, so we're going to just multiply it by its inverse. Now, what about this fraction we have here? What if the overall order, and this is just so they can try to mess you up, what if the overall order is 5 over 2? How would we do that? So we'll go about the same procedure again. We'll write out our rate law. Rate is equal to K times the concentration, which is in mole per liter, and then to the order of m. And we know the order is 5 divided by 2. So we have to isolate rate. We know rate is in units of mole per liter and times time. And then we have to use this rate and then divide it by this so that we can isolate for the K. Mole per liter to 5 to the 2. That'll give us K. And then we're going to just multiply it by the inverse. And we're going to do some canceling, exponent laws. So when you cancel mole with this mole, you're essentially just saying mole where there is 5 to the 2 minus mole with 2 to the 2, because it's just 1 here, so we can say that it's 2 to the 2, which is just equal to 1. That will give us mole 3 over 2. So likewise, if you do the same for L, 5 divided by 2, and then minus L, 2 divided by 2, just like this, except instead of moles, you're putting an L over here. You also get L, 3 to the power, 3 to the 2, 3 over 2. So that will give us, this part will cancel, and mole will be 3 over 2, and time is still time. And then L will become 3 over 2. So this will be your units if the overall order is 5 divided by 2.